Welcome back to Broadscast, 661-298-5487. We are on the phone with Cheryl. Cheryl's a single mom who tracked down
how to catch a deadbeat dad.
The deadbeat dad of her kids. So we left you at hi, Dad. So you're
Isn't that enough?
right. So did the police bring him in right there?
Yeah, they kind of sauntered up the street. I mean, these are tiny little narrow streets that we're going up. It's an old city, and
I thought you were going to say he was a tiny little man.
Oh, God, they were just like the most, I mean, they definitely weren't action cops like I'd like to see in the movies. They were just kind of wandering up the street like it's a nice day. And my son, I guess, he said hi, Dad, and he didn't really say anything back to him. He goes, "Are you going to have me arrested? Just don't do it in front of my business." That was all he cared about.
Yeah.
It was all about the image. And he said, "No, Dad, you're going to just have to come with me. Hey, you're just going to have to do it." And he just didn't say a word, hung his head, and as soon as he saw me, he said, "Okay, I guess you'll get your money now." Something that I've never really made a big deal about. I mean, I don't look for him daily. It just seemed like a good summer activity for the kids. I mean, when they're getting big now and they really like, crime, and his friend wants to go into criminal investigation. So this was a great
Wow, how I spent my summer vacation.
Yeah, we took pictures, and my son took a video, and a lot of people have said, "Oh my gosh, does it hurt the kids? Look, they've been without their dad for 15 years. I'm the dad."
Yeah.
And there was never any negativity about it. I said, "There's hi, Dad," and trying to be kind. I'm doing really good in school, and no response. So his concern is money. He's wearing a disguise, I think, because he didn't look like the guy I married 15 years ago. I didn't even recognize him.
Oh, honey, they're all wearing a disguise 15 years later.
I would not have picked him up in a lineup. Nothing. I wouldn't have even known him in the store. Honestly, it was really quite shocking. So
Cheryl, speaking of money, you don't have to disclose, but where were we in the arrears amount? I mean, what was
we're in the 100,000 range.
Yeah. So, I'm not going to disclose anything, but let me say this.
Kim's done a little research on the topic.
So in 2012, it was reported there's $100 billion in unpaid child support.
No doubt,
right?
Yep.
$100 billion. And there was a study that was done actually in 2011. These two people that I would love to call up and challenge, they talked about how there's a percentage of men that don't pay child support, but they do in-kind donations, basically, to the custodial parent. And it averaged about $63 a month. And what I found interesting was this was the breakdown. $19 towards clothing and shoes, $13 in gifts, $8 in food, $7 in childcare, which I don't know about you, that gives me about 20 minutes, and $6 in baby products. And they were praising these men that paid $63 or gave $63 in in-kind donations.
In-kind donations.
Yeah, and that's how
donation.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
So so let's go back to your story. That's fascinating.
I know. I just was curious how much she contributed.
I love statistics. So
I got plenty, Cheryl.
I know. Yeah. Like I said, she does a lot of research in my little air quotes. But so flash forward. So they get him. You go to court, and what happened? I like this part. What happened in court?
So much fun. Yeah, but this is like, 4 days of this. After 4 days, it's not so fun anymore. But the next day I had to go, he had to be held overnight. They transferred him to the big house, I call it, not the local jail, but with the big guys. And then the next day, show up in court, sat there for 8 hours, and the judge decided I need him to see a different judge, apparently someone that was a lot harder than he is, and because he just wouldn't say anything truthful at all. And they knew it. So they put him into the next day, went back into this courtroom with this judge. I'm just like, I love him so much. I mean, in 15 years of heading to the courthouse, he's done the most for me in a day.
Wow.
And, he basically told him, he asked him, he said, "You just made a payment." He had a payment made for him, apparently, of $10,000. And he said, "Where'd you get the money?" And he said, "Well, I just started working." Now, the judge knows all of everything because all the business papers are there. I have stacks of papers I gave him. And he said, "Okay, you just got a job." He said, "In a sub shop." He goes, "You don't work in a sub shop. Where'd you get the money?" "Well, I've been saving it in a shoebox for a couple weeks." He
Wow.
said, and of course, everyone.
Wow, that's a really, I want a job at that sub shop.
I know, I love it. You just get $10,000 in 2 weeks in a shoebox, and you're good to go. And he said, I thought it was about time to get the child support ball rolling, so I made the payment. He said, you didn't make the payment. So I made the payment. You know, it just went back and forth for like an hour. And he said, you're lying. You need to sit in jail, get the rest of the money, and then we'll talk about what else you have to pay. And he locked him up, and we're on week 3.2 now.
Wow.
And he's still in jail.
We went to court last Thursday, and he told him that he would be willing to release him to his business with an ankle bracelet, and so he could work. And he goes, no, thank you. My ex-husband said, no, thank you.
Oh.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want the jewelry.
Yeah.
He asked him why, and he said, I really can't tell you why, but I don't want that. And he goes, okay, see you, bye. It's exactly what he said to him, see you, bye, lock him up. Back again next Friday to see if they're just going to sentence him, because he is in contempt of court, bazillion other things, and because of the amount he owes, it could be a criminal charge.
Wow.
So they've all... Yeah, I don't know.
So how easy was it for you? I know someone that struggles with collecting child support, and she has reported that it is virtually impossible to get anyone to listen to her case and to get anything filed so that he's in contempt. Her case is going on almost 11 years. Same thing, over $100,000. I mean, probably 150-ish. It's impossible. And, you know, she knows she's not the only one, but she can't get anybody to file charges. She can't get him arrested. He did, you know, get his license suspended, but who cares?
The license suspends does nothing. He owns a car. He drives.
Right.
It does nothing. It does nothing.
So when you found him, I mean, how hard was it for you to get someone to, I mean, I know you said that they were kind of lollygagging around. It really wasn't like, you know, you really wanted them to act faster, but I mean, did you?
Yeah, it was very difficult to get them to do even anything. I mean, I've caught him before, and he's gone into court, and the judges let him go with a promise to pay, because at that time he looked like a clean, you know, neat guy who ran a business. I'll be back in 2 weeks with the full payment. Go. This time they were buying a lot more of my story, but it took me hours and stacks of stuff and evidence to bring in, and they finally have on his court papers now a non-compliant.
Right.
And everything is across the board. Difficult. 15 years of where I didn't spend most of my time doing it, because I think that's a disservice to my kids.
Of course.
And I didn't want to spend money on an attorney, because he'd get anything I'd capture would go to an attorney, so I became my own. Well, and if you just have to press.
And if you take it out of the courts anyway, then you don't have the same remedies that a state would have if you tried to privatize it, right?
That's right. And it's all difficult. There's not, this is like luck, maybe. I mean, it was just luck, because if he had walked 20 more feet, the police were not going to chase him. You know, they're not going to look for him. They make it sound in court, like I sat through court for 4 days in the past few weeks, and they say, okay, we're going to put, you know, a contempt order out for your ex-husband, and he'll be picked up. I feel like standing up and saying, he will not be picked up.
Right.
They do not pick him up. They don't help you in court. No one will help you. You have to become your own
advocate,
private investigator, advocate, everything. I was helping women while I was there fill out papers, because no one will tell them. It's not our job to tell you. Get a lawyer.
And you know,
afford a lawyer.
And you know, the other thing too that my friend shared too was that you know, the couple times that it came up in court that he was afforded the father of the child in that situation was afforded so many opportunities to do right, and there was a history of it not ever going the right way, because that's how they ended up with the $100,000+ of arrears, and all of the opportunities. You know, well, we want to give him the opportunity to do right by it, and you know,
the opportunity, as if, you
and
know,
they won't
ridiculous.
do it right by it. And it takes a judge like this to finally see through the bull and say, you're a liar. You know, you're not going to make good, and I'm not going to let you out even if you pay, because now you're going to have to figure out a way. And he's talking about maybe a bond going forward. My kids are 15 and 17. The song's almost over. You know, so just pay up. Give me a certain amount of money. I don't even, honestly, I wish I could donate this money, because
I know a couple places.
Yeah.
No, okay. Cheryl, don't do that.
No, don't do that.
That's how I feel.
I know.
Because it is hard. And then you can tell whoever of this is that is chasing down this money. There's an element of guilt about 3 days in when your ex-husband of 15 years sitting in jail, and he's not a thug, and he was a good guy before whatever happened to him, and you feel guilty, and you start calling everyone and saying, I feel so bad. I just read about what happens in prison, and they all slap you really hard and say, what are you talking about? So
you didn't do this to him. He did this to him.
Right. And it does kind of, because he's always had that kind of control of the situation, saying, well, you do well for yourself. You're okay. The kids look fine. And then I'm like, well, maybe they are fine. Maybe I don't even need to do this.
Right.
But now I'm good. Now I'm good when I see him in court, and he laughs in court, and he said, there's no way I'd wear one of those ankle bracelets. I don't think so. I can't even get a clean shave here. You didn't have a clean shave when we picked you up, dude, so that's okay.
How did your kids, people always talk about what you're supposed to talk to your kids about as it relates to your divorce and your settlements and support and all that stuff. What did they know? I know you said that they became a sleuth. For years,
they really didn't know a heck of a lot. They just knew Dad wasn't coming around and whatever. It just was not. My older son, who was 20, I could talk to him a little bit more, but he really just doesn't want to talk about that. It's just like, he said, Mom is out of sight, out of mind. He doesn't like to talk about it. My younger two, financial stuff, no. I never really addressed that stuff. It was, I didn't say, you can't see your dad because he owes money. That wasn't the case. He didn't want to see them. So I never had to address any of that. And I wouldn't care, even if he owed money, if he wanted to see them. It didn't matter. But I didn't, as they were younger, no. But as teenagers, it's not that they want to talk about it 24/7. They're interested in how the whole thing works and it is the subject of my son's college essay, and he's already started it, and I've read it. It makes me cry. And how people don't change. How you give them the opportunity and the benefit of the doubt, and how they don't, and how it's made him into, definitely a believer in doing right by people. And I read that, and I was like, yeah, wow, so cool. He's going to be so good. So they're fine. And a lot of people wondered that, should they have seen their father get arrested? Absolutely, because they're old enough, and it's not scary for them. This is an adrenaline rush. I think we should have bought champagne after, because it's been a long time coming. We ate a lot. We ate a lot, and that was it. But I think it depends on their age.
Yeah.
I've never badmouthed him. Well, I've never sat and said anything. We saw pictures, in books.
Right.
That's their dad. But they don't call him that. They call him Scott.
Right. Well, clearly, you've done a great job with your kids. And, we only have a minute left, but what would you tell other people in this situation, in this scenario?
Call me and I'll help you.
And honestly, if people reach out to us, on our Facebook page or at broadscast.com, we can connect you. I don't want to.
I definitely would help people.
We're trying to keep it private.
Anything. There's all kinds. There's a lot of resources online. Never stop, but don't consume yourself with it, because the money that you would have to spend, unless someone's, I don't know. I just don't recommend anything that's out of my pocket. It all goes to my kids.
Right.
So don't spend your life doing it, but just do it as a hobby and find them and then get them.
Well,
get them good.
Congratulations, and I'll definitely be following your story, and we will, and keep
congratulations.
Us posted. And
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us, Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome. Have a great weekend.
Thanks,
you too. I love broads. So I'm going to walk out and get our next broad in. So Kim,
okay. Do you want me to sing?
Tell a story or sing or dance or something.
Oh my gosh. No, listen. That my Life Beyond Broadscast is all about advocacy and about helping others. And I love that that's what Cheryl was doing when she was down at the courthouse, that even though she was battling her own situation, that she was willing to help others, because it really is such a system that can suck you right in, and you get so overwhelmed by. And
yeah, I can't even imagine. That. And just those kids are clearly strong, and come on in, just go ahead and sit down there, and strong and well adjusted they seem, and so that's awesome. So we're ready for our next guest. Hi, Nancy Karras.
Do you want our friend to come in too?
Yeah, she can come in.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Take videos of you too and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
We're like a big party in here.
Come on, the more the merrier. So Nancy, talk to us. So you're a transition coach.
Correct.
and career management.
Yes. So my background is senior HR management.
For like 20 years.
For 20 years in corporate America, and I've spent all my days identifying the ideal candidate for corporations and then managing those people's careers.
So you know what these corporations are looking for in people.
Absolutely.
So you know how to like make sure you're here. They always
Hug
say
it,
put it
hug
around
it.
like you're hugging it, so that way people
I'm in.
Forces you to
I'm
sit,
in, baby.
sit
I'm
up right too.
So, I mean, from the corporate side, you know what they're looking for, so you can actually coach on the personal side.
Correct. I've spent so
fantastic.
many years in the boardroom behind closed doors that I'm ready to share my secrets from the boardroom.
I love that.
And I think that it's time
Sassy.
for people to get the secrets to success.
Right.
Because we all don't realize how the power is in our own hands.
So
Yeah.
there are so many people. I think that this is such an interesting time in society that people are going from, instead of those 9 to 5 or, punch the clock for 40 years, they're really starting to tap into who they are
And
a
what they
little bit
wanna do
more
with
and
their
what they
time.
want to do. Yeah,
Exactly.
because work is such a huge chunk of your life. Like it takes you away from your personal time, your family, your friends. So you should be doing something that
Correct.
fulfills you.
Correct.
So, but
What do you tell people that come to you and say, I'm just not feeling fulfilled in my professional life?
Well, I wake up happy every single day. And I
Is that
love
No bragging in this room, Nancy.
every single day I wake up happy.
do you have a prescription?
I do. I love my job and I love my life. And what I've done is I was able to align my personal goals with my career goals.
Okay.
And when people take the time to really do that and match those two things up, they do something they love for a living. And then it doesn't become work.
Right.
It becomes a joy. Job hunting becomes a joyous activity because you're so passionate about getting that dream job. So I encourage people, don't just get the next job. Don't just, people tell you you're good at math, you're good at accounting, you've been so good as the HR leader. But out of all those things that you do every day, what in that do you really love? What's your intrinsic motivator? What do you get up every day and say, I can't wait, I'm going to record this show. I'm going to have a great guest today. I can't wait to get up. That's where you want to surround yourself in life.
And how do you deal with the people that are stuck in I've been doing this for 20 years and they completely want to take a different route, and how do you get them over that hump of like, how do I risk not having the paycheck anymore, and how do I risk starting over at 50 or 45 or whatever the age is?
Well, first of all, I think that so many people have so many self-limiting beliefs, and we hold ourselves back.
Right.
And like a jogger who's running, what we do is we throw hurdles in front of ourselves, and we stop ourselves. I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm not experienced enough. I don't have the education. And before we even go out and try to achieve what we want, we tell ourselves it's not ours for the taking.
Right.
And that's absurd. So I encourage clients, I have a 7-step program, 7 steps to your dream job, landing your dream job. And what I believe is that if people follow a very specific path, it's a mathematical formula, and they follow the 7 steps, they can identify what is their calling in life. They can then determine the steps specifically to get there. Who are the people we have to meet?
Right.
And then it doesn't become such an insurmountable hurdle to those people who are saying, Nancy, I've been in my job for 20 years. I'm 55 or 60 years old. Who will hire me?
Yeah.
And what I say to them is turn your perception around. You're a wealth of information.
Right.
You're a wealth of experience and expertise.
Right.
And you're here to help mentor and teach other people how to
Right.
succeed.
That's a great point.
That's your place.
I'm calling out my sister-in-law right now because she just left her job, and she's in her 40s and she's just getting on LinkedIn and she's just getting her resume, and she hasn't had to do any of this in years. And she does that. She's like, "Well, I'm middle-aged or whatever," and I'm like, but you haven't, it's when you're no longer relevant is the issue. So you can be the right age,
right.
I mean, at any age,
Right.
but if you're not relevant, that's,
Right.
but if you're staying up on things and in your industry, there should be absolutely no problem, right?
Well, it's a
Or
very
at
good
least-
point that you bring up. In order to be relevant, what you have to do is really be aware of what it is that you're looking for and want to do. And once you know what that is, you make sure that you have the tools, the resources, and what you want to bring to the table. It's how you present yourself. Traditionally, we regurgitate our work history. From 2000 to 2015, I worked for Smith Barney, and then I left there and I went to so-and-so and I did this.
Right.
What people need to do today is, let's say I'm coming to work for Broadscast, right? And I know that you are focused on something really specific. I'm going to study that. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to know it, so that when I walk in, I'm an equal person in the conversation, and you see me as someone who brings something to your table.
Right.
The me-centric generation is over.
Right.
I need a job. I'm looking for satisfaction. Now it's about what can you do for the company or the organization or the project or your dream to make it happen.
So it's a change in perception.
I interview a lot of people for my work, and I'm always frustrated when people come to me and know nothing about what I do. They were just answering a job description and then have no questions for me. And I'm not that clear that I've explained everything possible that is expected to them. So I'm always really frustrated when people, nope, I think you answered everything. I'm like,
how could that be?
How could that be? Yeah, and I don't, and I rule them out. And I know this is old-fashioned too, but if I don't receive a thank you note, I was raised with the handwritten thank you note.
Yes.
I get that we're email these days, but I received a text once as a thank you. I'm like, no, that's not going to work for me. And I wonder if I hold people to a standard that's unreasonable when I'm in a hiring position, or an expectation for the environment that I want to be working in and the people that I want working around me are participating
I believe it's creating a culture that you really want, because you want to surround yourself with like-minded people. And that's another mistake people make. They go into environments they know nothing about, and there's an opening, right? So we look at the job postings, we fill out the application. It takes us all day just to get it cut and pasted in.
Right.
And we just become a number on a huge pile. But if I say I'm interested in these companies, these industries, these people specifically, and then I understand them, I can go in and be much more prepared.
Right.
Have a list of really targeted questions to ask you. So.
Okay, good.
Wow.
Actually, we're going to take a break.
Yes.
Yancy, your voice is so soothing. Like, I'm so dreamy right now. We're going to take a break.
We want to talk about some transitioning in life transitions.
You're listening to Broadscast with Kim Goldman and Jackie MacDougall.
Welcome back to Broadscast.
Hi.
We're here with, Nancy, I'm kicking you under the table. Nancy Karras. So
It's better than throwing her under the bus.
It is.
That is
certainly.
true.
I'll take
So
a
we
kick from you.
tackled the career, but you're one of the top transition coaches in the nation.
Right.
What does that mean?
So
I know what top in the nation means.
Exactly.
It's a transition.
Right. So to me, I believe that career and personal life are so intertwined, and that today we're all working because of technology 24/7. So in order to be successful, you have to balance your personal life and your business life.
Right.
For sure.
Okay.
Right? So I think it's really important that people look at both. I never coach someone about their career and it doesn't end up becoming something personal.
Right.
They've got family issues, they've got their own blocks and challenges,
Right.
or they just don't believe in themselves. There's all kinds of things. And so to me, transition encompasses a lot of things. So when I help people, I help them transition to a better perception and a better way of life, because they become the CEO of their own destiny.
Okay.
And they recognize that they have the power to change. You have to step outside of your box.
Right.
And you have to be willing to be uncomfortable.
Do you get a lot of
Please.
people, like there are a lot of moms who take time off, and they aren't necessarily up on the industry, or they want to do something else than maybe the industry they went to school for, and they have experience in, or just people who are working that 9 to 5. I always say, like, sliding down the dinosaur, at quitting time.
Right.
And
Right.
Hey, you pulled a Flintstone reference out of that.
Right.
But how do you go from one to the other? It's a pretty hard jump.
It is. I had a crush on Bam Bam back when.
Awkward.
So I think moms are a really interesting group, because moms are some of the most skilled people out there.
Right.
If moms really write down on paper and translate what they do into a corporate vocabulary. They are responsible for the finances. They are responsible for the real estate. They are responsible for the management of the team. They are responsible for all kinds of things that we don't give ourselves credit for.
Right.
So to me, moms already have all it takes to step back into the business world. They just think they've lost it all because they stepped away from it for a brief period of time.
It's funny. My best friend, her husband was fortunate enough to be able to stay home and raise the kids and take care while she worked. And he's just now putting himself back into the workforce. And he was like, how do I do this? And he started to apply for jobs. And one of the jobs was to take care of elderly. And he wrote that I have no caretaking experience. And the person said, you've been taking care of your children for 12 years.
Yes,
and he went,
does.
yeah, look at that.
But he's lucky that they saw that, because I think
but it speaks to
It's
what Nancy's saying, that you don't put the value on,
You
and
have to
it's
value
hard
yourself.
to take that personal situation, then be able to apply it to the professional. Especially when you've been out of it for a long time and you're kind of feeling like I don't belong here because I've been here for so long, and you've boxed yourself in, like you just said.
On the other hand, you have a mom who writes a resume, and she talks about how she's managed hundreds of thousands of dollars as the PTA president, and this, that, and the other thing, and jobs. Some places laugh at that, like, come on, that's not a real job.
Yeah.
Even though maybe volunteering and being on a board and handling event planning, and I think, how do you maybe take those experiences and present them in a way that doesn't seem like a joke
and marketable?
So we are entering the age of entrepreneurship. The world is changing, and people will no longer have these long-term opportunities and the loyalty from companies that they had before. People will be doing much shorter stints and more project-based work with each other, collaborative efforts. And so for women who want to transition their skills and be able to go out there, they can think about things that are needed out there today. So for example, what about a concierge service in Santa Clarita? Somebody who goes out there, who's a mom, who wants her own schedule. So the idea is to match your personal goals to your career goals. So if you're a mom who says, I still want to be around because I don't want my kids to get into trouble in junior high school, then you create your own entrepreneurship. And you can really go out there and take your talents and expertise and find the niche for them. It's just a matter of following those 7 steps, as I said. It's personal branding and how you present yourself. It's your perception and sense of self-worth. And so that's what I do for a living. I help people to identify again who they are, what their strengths are, what they love, though, not just what you're good at. I was great at being the senior HR leader, but I didn't love
doing it,
fighting for everybody's good success.
So speaking of personal branding, where can people find you? So that
nice.
Do you like that?
I like that, Kim.
I'm working
Thank you
on
so
it.
much.
How can people find you?
People can find me at my website, which is transition.coach. They can also contact me if they'd like through my office number, which is 661-309-7055.
And it's not just local people.
No, I am a national coach, and I have some international clients as well. I have clients
excellent.
in Colombia, Brazil, China.
Are they single? See, I'm working on it. I'm
If
doing
you
it.
want to travel, I can certainly help you out.
Thank you so much. And you're also going to be having an event.
Yes,
We've
I
got
have
10 seconds. So
I have
go.
a big event coming up October 15th in Valencia, California.
Can they find
And
that
it's
on your
called,
website?
Yes, 7 Steps to Landing Your Dream Job.
Excellent.
Nice.
Nancy Karras, thank you so much. Thanks
you
for
for having
listening to
me.
Broadscast.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
Have a great day.